Welcome to Emotionally Baked, where emotions and baking are the two most perfect ingredients. Hi friends, and welcome back to Emotionally Baked, your interactive podcast where we bake and we talk about our feelings through conversation, rambling, storytelling, all while we bake it out. Today we are talking about oatmeal cookies and being overwhelmed. I don't know about you, but I have had a week of overwhelming things and just being overwhelmed in general. It's been quite the thing. A lot of things going on, a lot of things that are just happening. It's just a lot. So this evening, I was feeling it. I was feeling being overwhelmed. It got in my head. It got in myself, in my every limb and all the way down fingertips to my toes. And I just felt like I had to bake. I ended up baking a couple things, so we might continue our conversation in another episode, but I'll be still baking. And these were one of them. Oatmeal raisin cookies. Now, this recipe is the oatmeal cookie raisin recipe from your oatmeal raisin box. I believe this one is the Quaker Oats box. Fabulous recipe. Love it to pieces. The only thing I do different, so take note, is that instead of the eggs, I add applesauce. And I don't know if I said how much I add. So for every egg that it calls for in this, so there's 2 in this recipe, I do 1/4 of a cup of applesauce. So that would have been 1/2 cup of applesauce. It just makes them so soft. And I don't just add raisins. I put chocolate chips in it too. I just think it gives it a little something extra. My kids really like it this way. So, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I bake all of it all at once, and sometimes I save some cookie dough and then I can spread it out. So that's why I've got some already baked, because I just had to bake some. So let's go and look at the recipe and our ingredients, and let's get cooking. Baking. Let's get baking. Before we get baking, I need to put my hair up. I seem to forget at times to put my hair up. But let's go. Let's get these. There we go. Just a ponytail today, maybe. All right. So here we're going to take all the ingredients. These are the dry ones. And these are all on that recipe on your favorite oatmeal. I'm going to pull my favorite KitchenAid mixer here out of the cupboard. Love this cupboard. And I'm going to go ahead and just beat up the butter. And we're going to sift the dry ingredients. And all those dry ingredients go in the sifter. We're going to sift it over the whipped butter and sugars and vanilla and the applesauce. We're going to sift it over top of that. And then we're just going to whip it all together, keep mixing it up. And it comes together nicely. Just going to add our raisins and our chocolate chips, and we're done. Okay, so as you can see, ingredients in the mixer. Didn't want to have you hear all of that mixing. That is quite loud. And I need to explain that stand mixer cupboard, I need to get a better video of it. That stand mixer cupboard is literally one of my favorite things that I ever built in this kitchen. We did build this kitchen. Well, we did. We had somebody build the kitchen, but we helped design it and things. And that was one of the things that I said I have to have a stand mixer cupboard. So there we go, stand mixer cupboard. So I'm going to, so really, honestly, tips and tricks for making cookies. And I think that's why, oh, well, I'm going to jump around. Remember, I jump around. Why I was feeling, or why it helps me when I was feeling overwhelmed, when I thought I need to make cookies, is because for me, cookies were one of the first things I learned how to make. And it really helped to kind of get that under my belt, to get a cookie, a good, solid, either chocolate chip or this one under the belt, to feel confident about baking. And so when I'm overwhelmed or a lot of different emotions come to mind when I'm thinking about baking cookies, this is one of those ones where you don't really have to think. Sometimes, there are a lot of times in baking, you have to really think about, like, oh, the recipe, I've got to split the recipe, or I got to change something about the recipe, or be careful with this recipe, and sometimes there's, things that are just too much going on, and you want something you remember, you want a recipe that you are comfortable with, that you're not going to start stressing out again. If I'm overwhelmed, I do not want to have a recipe that I need to be stressing out about. I want something that, okay, I know how to do this. This always turns out right. And then I will have a delicious carb at the end to help me through it. It just is one of those comforts to have a recipe that can help you tone and ease down the feelings that you have. And happened to be this week, being overwhelmed was on the docket. That's what I was feeling. So, and I've eaten my handful of them already. When nothing is better than a warm cookie out of the oven, and I'm eyeing them right now. They're sitting by me, and I'm thinking, oh, I should hold off, Heather. Hold off. So my overwhelmness this week really came from a lot of mixtures of various things happening. Canceled appointments and rescheduling and driving and traffic and weather and a lot of activities piling up. And I know that that's going to become something I look forward to coming soon, because my little is in after school sports, and my middle, his baseball season is going to be starting, and so there's going to be a lot happening, and I don't want to get overwhelmed, because I know I probably will feel overwhelmed because of all the the chauffeuring we do or that I do, the chauffeuring from this school to that school to this game to this sport and to this, and then, oh wait, I got to go to work too, and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. So I know more feelings of overwhelm are coming, and this week was just a little taste of being overwhelmed for the spring season. I feel there's a good lull in the winter for some reason, but this winter seemed to really kind of deal us one. In November, we had our roof replaced because our insurance said that they would drop us if we didn't acquire a new roof, and there was other small things on their list. Well, I shouldn't say small. It was interesting things on their list. We had a couple of trash cans that we used for our trash pickup that they said were unsightly in our yard, which they were by the house, where else are we supposed to put them? I mean, I don't want to really put trash inside, even in the garage. That would... And they also said that our gutters needed to be replaced, which last year we literally had new siding and new gutters put on our house. So we had to prove to them that we purchased new gutters and new siding, which we did. And they were, okay, well, now you need a new roof. Okay. And we knew we needed the new roof because is 25 years old from when my husband's grandparents last had it replaced here. And we knew that had to be done. And thankfully we found a company. They did a really great job, and they were really awesome. They really did do a good job. Professional, cleaned up, all the things. Unfortunately, something happened in one of their putting up of, and I don't even understand it, a piece that like where the roofs meet, and then there was like a little something wasn't exactly correct, and we had a major roof leak. And I can chuckle about it now because they did a really great job in coming back in and fixing, and so kudos to them. Just caused a very big kink in things, and unfortunately where it leaked was in an attic where we have all of our Christmas stuff stored, which I had already taken all down. And wait, we didn't get I lie. If I had already put in all the Christmas stuff in, we just got our roof replaced in January, not November. That's correct. It was January. Because why did we put the Christmas stuff away? It was in January. My fault. So, yeah, we'd only had the roof for like a month. And we had to take all of the Christmas stuff back out and put a whole bunch of, for them to come and repair and all the things. So the Christmas stuff is currently residing in my daughter's room. Some of it in the hallways upstairs in my kids' space. In our bedroom is one corner is completely full of Christmas stuff. And things started just snowballing from there because because the roof leaked from having snow. Did I not say that? That's okay. I think I'm funny sometimes. I apologize. So we had to, so the leak caused drywall damage in the attic, but unfortunately that attic shares a wall. The way that the attic is set up in this house, it shares a wall with my son's bedroom. So that's not going to be fun with my son having to move out at some point to get the huge section of his wall replaced. And it leaked into the dining room. So the dining room ceiling is going to have to be fixed. So that's fun. And because of all the taking out of things out of attics, and we were checking all the other areas in their rooms because my kids all have the upstairs, so they can that's like their whole we built our space on the first floors, so when I get old and decrepit I don't have to walk upstairs. That's kind of the plan. So my kids have their space up there, and unfortunately that meant that we had to go through and make sure that none of their other closets or anywhere that could have been in the roofs, that vicinity could have leaked, and which therefore snowballed again into going through every closet of theirs, everything in their room, and purging and cleaning. So right now in my kitchen, I won't pan over because I don't really want to show the mess. But currently, so remember, there's still piles of things, of Christmas decor all over the upstairs, all over our bedroom. Now my entire kitchen, well, a large little corner of my kitchen has everything we're donating nothing got damaged. But this is everything that we're donating from that purging of cleaning and all the things. So we have a huge pile of donation as well. Luckily, that'll be getting taken away or taken by somebody soon. So that will be good. It's here all the time. This stuff is everywhere all the time. And when well, it's been here for the last couple of weeks, like in the spaces, in the main spaces, living rooms, bedrooms, all the things. And to say I am trying, to say I'm overwhelmed is an understatement. I'm trying not to see it. I'm trying to put blinders on. I'm very particular. I like my things where they go, and to have a clean house and to put things away. And I'm trying not to see it. I'm really trying. Okay. We're just baking away here, just getting all the cookies done. So I'm trying to put blinders on to all the things that I cannot, there's no control. There's no way that I can deal with. Like, it's going to be what it is, and I have no control over it right now. So, and I think that's hard when you have something that you can't control, especially when I'm a little type A, and I like things where they go. It's hard to have something that you can't control. But I'm trying to keep blinders, and sometimes the blinders fall. And this week, with snow and late openings and trying to get ornery kids to do homework and and doctor's appointments and the other worries of life, worrying about family members, worrying about your work, worrying about all the things, I became very overwhelmed. Overwhelmed to the point of almost tears, until I said, tears, hold off. I'm going to bake cookies, and hopefully that will help. Hopefully the cookies will help. They really are helping. I have snuck a couple, maybe more than a couple, and they're helping me to get through some of my coping of being overwhelmed. I asked my kids this in the car on the way home yesterday, remember when it was, and I said, are you guys overwhelmed? Is anybody feeling overwhelmed right now? My little, I don't think understood what I was asking. That's okay. I don't want him to understand one day, but probably will. My middle said, yeah, I got some tests coming up, and so yeah, and some papers. I'm a little overwhelmed about that. I said, okay. My daughter says, I'm always overwhelmed, Mom. Just very nonchalantly. I'm always overwhelmed. I said, oh dear, I don't want you to always be overwhelmed. And it just made me think, like, how can we not feel so overwhelmed all the time? And I think of being overwhelmed as like a plate. So, I wish I had one of those little things, those little like weigh scales, where, these are, you're given two plate. Maybe let's make our own analogy here. Let's say that you have one of those scales, and they're given to you during the day, and you have, the things you need to do, the things you want to do on your plate, and both plates, because I feel like that's kind of how my day, like, these are the things I have to do today, and these are the things that I want to do today. And then you're trying to balance these two so that one doesn't tip the other over and everything is spilled up and messed. And then you feel like you have it balanced. You feel like you got it right. I did my work. I did my, whether it's, your house things, whether it's your personal life things, or whatever it is, you have your relationships, your have-to-dos, your things, and then your hobbies or your joys, your baking, you're talking with friends, your things that you love, and you feel like you've got it all baked. Yeah, you got it all baked. You got it all worked out, and then something comes and just topples it all over. like I thought I had everything figured out. We got activity at school, dress up, kid had to dress up, had to have all the homework done, had to have all the lunches made, had to, like, gotta go to work today, gotta do all the things, and we're getting it all balanced, we're getting it all ready, and we're figuring it out. And okay, what else am I gonna do today? I'm gonna, things for me, the joy things for me, going to, getting to do a craft that I wanted to do, or getting to do this, and then all of a sudden, a 2-hour delay because of snow, ice, all the things, and now everything is toppled. Everything is toppled. Everything is okay. Now I've got to shift all these things, all of my have to do's, and maybe I have to sacrifice the wants, those things that I want to do for myself, which is fine. But then there's that. It becomes like where you feel that overwhelm starting to come in, because that scale is kind of rocking back and forth, and because of that thing that came in and upset it, and now what do we do? Like, what, and this is me, when I get overwhelmed, I sometimes shut down. Sometimes I bake, sometimes I shut down. Baking is the healthier choice. I won't doubt that. Baking is the healthier. Well, that's up for debate, because these cookies definitely had some sugar in them. But you know what I mean by healthier. It was probably the better thing to do with my time, which I'm glad that I decided to do this time instead of shutting down. I've had moments where I've been so overwhelmed. When this first happened, when our leak in our house first happened, and it was a mad rush to get buckets and towels and fans to dry things and all the things, I kind of locked and I froze, and I was like, I said, okay, kid one, help and get this, kid two, help get this. And I kind of was able to direct individuals, but then I just I got so overwhelmed that I went to my room, and I just crawled to my side of the bed, and I had a book, and I just started reading, and my husband, are you okay? And I said, no, I really feel, I don't know what to do right now. I'm overwhelmed. I have no solution for what's happening. And, he didn't either. We both were overwhelmed. But in that moment, I just needed to step back from the situation and to just kind of regulate and just to make sure I wasn't going to, like, burst out in tears, or I'm not sure. But my body, definitely, I could sense the overwhelm happening. We weren't prepared for that. You just buy a brand new roof, and then you have to deal with the ramification, or the it's not consequence, not the outcome of something that, yeah, it was a mistake, and it sucks that it happened, but now you are overwhelmed. And yeah. And I don't know. I don't think that there's any right or wrong way to deal with being overwhelmed. I haven't felt like there's a right or wrong way. I think baking would have been the wrong thing to do right when that leak happened. If I came in my kitchen and started baking and making a mess in here while there was a mess somewhere else going, yeah, I don't think that would have been, it wouldn't have helped. It wouldn't have helped other people. I don't think it would have helped me. I think I would have just felt more overwhelmed. But then slowly, things got a little bit back to normal. And then this overwhelmed feeling that I'm feeling just with the things that are out and about from all of those situations, this overwhelmed feeling that I'm getting just with, it's taken some time now, and it's just, there's a lot, the clutter, there's a lot happening. This overwhelmed, I think, was okay with baking as the solution. It helped me to just kind of take a deep breath and remind myself that, remember, we felt overwhelmed in the beginning. We felt overwhelmed from everything that happened. And now we are, yes, we're overwhelmed. Similar situation, because of that situation, we're overwhelmed. But we're trying to, and I was trying to tell myself, like, self, remember, we're trying to put blinders on. We don't, this is just going to be what it is. The donation pickup people are getting this next week. It will eventually be okay. And just to talk myself back through the situation. So here we are. Please let me know if whatever you felt overwhelmed about, or let me know. All right. And hopefully the baking helped. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me on today's podcast of oatmeal cookies and feeling overwhelmed. And I just want you to remember, as always, whether your salt in your recipes comes from tears or a teaspoon, just remember we baked it out. Thanks again. Bye.